Welcome to the Story Tinker Podcast, a place for in-depth analysis of webtoon stories. Co-hosted by sharp, witty, and dare I say thirsty fans, we dive deep into every episode, analyzing character struggles, relationship development, and of course, theories. You can follow the Story Tinker on YouTube, podcast platforms, and social media. For bonus content, sneak peeks, and more, you can support the Story Tinker on Patreon. We are really appreciative of your likes, subscribes, and follows on all platforms. Thank you for listening to the Story Tinker, and let's get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 150 of Let's Play. And first of all, congratulations to Mangi for reaching 150.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And for always having an amazing story.
Yes, I mean, 150 is a nice round number.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Okay, so we have a little recap from last time where Marshall and Eva, are heading to the hospital. And here they are at the hospital. We're seeing the doctor looking at the sonogram, I think it's called, echocardiogram. And he's like, all right, we're done. Thanks, doc. And then Marshall, who's a big goofball, says, give it to me straight. Is it a boy or a girl? I'm hoping for a girl. It's funny. And, Eva's like all worried holding his hand, and Marshall's just cracking jokes.
Typical. Very typical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it is adorable.
Yeah. And Eva's like, then she stop being weird, and she, decides her comfort is not really needed and pulls her hand out of his. Marshall's just laughing, and the doctor says dryly, haha, haven't heard that joke before. Which, yes, there are certain professions where you just get the same, lines over and over, and I'm sure it's very tiring at some point.
Yeah, I love that she threw that in there. It's like, okay, that's very funny.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, so we have good news. The doctor says, I'll have to go through everything to be sure, but it all looked good. It would seem that your Takotsubo cardiomyopathy has virtually recovered. And Marshall's like, does that mean I can return to my previous activity level? I can go running again and working out? Which we all know, like, what he's thinking. Last time he gave a giant list of all these like alternatives for saying sex.
Yeah, that's right. And what he says about Mortimer is very funny.
Yeah, and he's like, yes, you should get back to Sully. You don't want to overdo it. Give yourself time to adjust. And he points to his bracelet, and he's like, did this mean I don't have to wear Mortimer, the heart monitor, anymore? Which I don't remember him calling. Do you remember him saying, like, naming him?
No, I think it was just in that moment. It just kind of came out. Yeah, I don't remember him saying it before. So it was just very funny the way he did name it and anthropomorphized it.
So Mortimer, to me, it's like a name of an old man, like crotchety old man. So
yeah.
But also mort in French means death. So it's like a death preventer.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And he's like, no, you don't need to worry about wearing it anymore. You can hand it back in. Marshall lifts up his hands. I can't help but notice he has giant biceps. And he's like, woohoo, no more cock blocking Mortimer. And he was like, that's what you're excited about.
What I think is interesting is that as soon as she hears there's no danger, she withdraws her. She's like, oh, you don't need me anymore. She just withdrew her comfort immediately. Just, oh, there's no danger, so I don't need to be comforting. I don't need to be the warm-hearted sister anymore. And then what happens next?
Yeah, she's not like an emotionally gushy kind of person. So no. I think she'll only reserve affection for times of extreme duress.
Yeah.
So she has it, like she cares deep down, she really does, but she doesn't really show it. She has a tough exterior.
Yeah, she's very much her father, I would think, and he seems very much their mother. The kind of, the warmth from the mom's side. Marshall is more like that, but he's also very much a people pleaser. So he's always trying to make people laugh and warm up to them. And she's that kind of cold, I'm not going to give you that much affection. I'm not going to give you that much attention. That's just not who I am. But she's there for him anyway. Sorry about that.
Right. So I feel like that's the main difference. She might have acquired the external personality traits, the expressions of her dad, but deep down inside, she is a nice person. And their dad does not seem to be, from what we know so far.
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens later. I'm definitely curious to see more and learn more about them.
I am too. So.
So Marshall is being a cutie pie, and he's like, though it did a good job of taking care of me, making sure my heart was safe, I'm grateful for all Mortimer did for me. I think I'll actually miss him. And Eva's like, did you anthropomorphize a heart monitor by giving it feelings and emotions, and now you've grown attached to it? And then we have the cutest, adorablest chibi face of Marshall. I can't handle how cute he is. Oh my gosh, this chibi face and Marshall's chibi face last time when he was jumping up and down when he wanted to help.
Oh my God.
The cutest little baby.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
That needs to be on a pillow. That's adorable.
Oh my gosh. And she's like, of course you did. So now the doctor tells them something interesting. He says, though we don't know for sure what caused this incident of Takotsubo, we think it's important to keep working to work on keeping your stress levels down. Do you have a primary physician? No, not since I was a kid, which a lot of people think I also have that. And I can give you a list of doctors. I suggest you follow up. I should also state there is some suspicion that this heart condition may run in families, or at the very least make you more susceptible. So if you haven't already been checked, miss, I would suggest consulting with a cardiologist, and it probably wouldn't hurt to have your parents checked too, just in case. And this is where they will turn to look at each other. Like, what do you see in that turn?
In the turn?
They're looking, yeah, what's in there? What are they thinking?
That my thought is that they're shocked that this could actually be this serious, that they both want to kind of minimize it. He had this heart problem, he had it. Not that he has a heart problem and it's serious enough to actually run in families. And I think they're all scared. They're all a little bit nervous and what it could mean too. I mean, they have this father who is this cold man who is indestructible, who's just this huge presence in their life, that he could have this weakness of a heart problem. Him, the mom, all of them. I think that it kind of humanizes the dad and Eva even. Just they're shocked. I think they're shocked at how serious it is. I don't think that they expected it to be that serious. That's my feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally see that. And I think also like they're probably worried about, okay, how do we tell our parents? Especially if like, okay, so Eva probably talks to the dad from what I gather. Right. Marshall talks to his mom. So at least each of them can tell one of them, you know?
Right.
But yeah, so I actually really doesn't have a lot of like heart conditions in my family. So, you know, a lot of like two great grandparents died in like the 50s and 60s of a heart attack. And, you know, my dad had a heart attack 2 years ago.
Wow.
2.5. And I had a heart murmur when I was a kid. So like fully, my grandmother has, you know, had like 3 heart attacks. So I'm fully expecting to have like a heart attack at some point in my life. So despite it, you know, despite lifestyle, it's like an inherited condition. So yeah. Anyway, okay, so they go outside and they're like, thanks for coming with me today, Eva. It was great having company. Like, of course, Benji, everything was good with your checkup. So it looks like I didn't need to be here after all, which, you know, back to what she's saying, she feels like she only needs to be there for the big events, you know, not the everyday life.
Right.
And he says, I guess you're right, but I was scared the results wouldn't be good. And it was nice having you here just in case, which is so sweet. It's, you know, it's not always easy to tell your siblings how you feel about them, but Marshall's a pretty open guy. And it's really great to see him articulate that.
Yeah, it's nice that, and she responded. She accepted the affection and responded to it, which I think was nice. Right. It doesn't seem like it's natural for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Right. She puts her arm in his and then she says in Japanese, don't worry, your big sister will take care of you. Thanks, sis. Aw.
That's so sweet.
Very sweet. I'm happy. It's nice to see her defrost a little bit.
Yeah. That's a good word.
Yep. And then, you know, they're like, oh, do you want to have dinner tonight? Sure, but can we go back to my place first? Sure. Which as soon as they said that, I'm like, okay, there's going to be, you know, a Sam, Eva encounter, and we know what happens later. So they're, Sam's going to be there with her certain someone, and Eva's going to be there. Drama.
Yes. I know. That was my first thought. Like, oh my God, worlds collide. No.
Right. Yep. I'm fully looking forward to that explosion later.
Yeah.
We have some word because we hear it's always so nice to see my children getting along well. And both Eva and Marshall jump and their eyes go pale and wide. So they're like, they've lost all color in their eyes. And we have next to the heavy and the car, we have a man, a slim man with white gray hair, says, "Good afternoon, Eva and Ben. I trust the appointment went well." And then he, you see his face and his eyes, and he says, "No bad news." So this is apparently their dad. And we have a very major question, because who does he look like?
Yeah, well, who does he look exactly like? And it's Charles. But
So I've been reading people's theories. What do you think?
my mind is blown, literally. I'm like, he does look exactly like him, but could it be just the blue eyes? But just the shape of the face, the smile, everything, it's Charles. It's like an older version of Charles. And I don't want to think about what that could mean for even Charles, that talk about awkward dinner conversation. I don't I don't know, maybe some distant relative or just a coincidence, but he's got his coloring, and Charles doesn't apparently know his father.
Right. So someone mentioned it, and I actually did not remember, but Sabra reminded me. It was in the episode where Charles is dropping off Mr. Young, and he tells him how much he admires his family dynamic. It's 122. That's when he tells him that, I never knew my father. So, I mean, for mind you to drop something like that, like, yeah, maybe we could speculate, is this guy Charles's father? In which case, if Eva and Marshall are his biological kids, then that would be bad.
But that's a very good point. Maybe they're not his biological kids. Maybe because they do look exactly, both of them look like the mom. They don't look like him at all. So that could be another twist.
Yeah, someone wrote that on Facebook, and I was like, okay, that's a saving grace. It could be that he was just
yeah, exactly.
I mean, and that also might be why he wasn't so nice.
That could be. Yeah, absolutely. It could be that, he didn't bond with them because he's not biologically related.
Mm-hmm.
But
that would be an interesting one. But a lot of other people, including, let's see, who is this person? Rain Adams. So a lot of people talked about daddy issues, but Rain Adams said this really nice comment on Facebook that basically that Ava is drawn to people who are like her dad, and not just physically in their appearance, but also for people with a need to control. So, Charles is a guy who needs to control, and her dad is very controlling. So it's possible that she, is drawn towards that kind of person, both physically and personality wise, which I think makes a lot of sense.
It does. And what's interesting too is her need to control them back, to assert her control over them, to find people who want to control, and then to be the one who's the alpha in the situation. So where she can't assert the control over her dad, she's doing it in her relationships. And you could see that in previous episodes too, with Charles and her, and who's being more of a bitch, basically, when him or her. But yeah, no, I definitely think that's a really good point, that she seems to be as controlling as she is. She seems to be drawn to people as equally as controlling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and something, I've heard a lot about why people are drawn to people like their parents is because, you grow up, first of all, obviously there's the what you're used to aspect, which is, you know how to handle people like that. My husband is a lot like my father. And, it took a long, long time to realize, I recognized that when I married him, that my husband was very easygoing, like my dad. But I also didn't recognize how there were so many other personality cliques that came along because he was like my dad, both good and bad, and ways that I had learned to develop as a woman that were because of how my mom and dad's relationship was, things that I just didn't understand till much later. Right. But then there's also this aspect that sometimes when you're attracted to someone like your parent, it's because you want to fix the things that happened. You're like, okay, this is the same kind of person, and we're going to do it right this time. Right. I'm going to make up for the things that my dad didn't give me or my mom didn't give me. So that could be another, reason for Ava's attraction to someone like Charles.
Right. And exactly. I think that's it too, that she's going to do the relationship, like you said, like quote unquote, right this time. And she's going to have control, and she's going to assert herself. The earlier episodes where she just kind of tunes out the parents, and they're talking about her as if she's not even, well, she wasn't there in the room, but they're talking about her where she could overhear them, and she had no power in that relationship. And now she does. She's all about power in the relationship.
Right. Very true. So what do you think their dad showing up, what do you think it's going to do in the story? What's going to happen?
I think Marshall is going to retreat, and I think he's going to turn into the ultimate people pleaser again and make jokes and try to make people put people at ease and make everybody laugh. And it's funny because I think it was earlier in this episode or another episode, it was mentioned how I think the episode before this, when Eva went to pick him up and she met his friends, and he made a comment how his friend Dean is not usually like that, and that's just the personality he puts on. So he surrounds himself with people who put on these personas, and I think that he's going to go into that martial law persona himself and just become that gregarious people pleaser and make everybody happy and not show how uncomfortable his father makes him. I think he's going to have a really hard time. I don't think he's going to be able to handle this well.
So I like that, and I definitely think it'll start off like that. But I think that Marshall's like character arc in the story is to get strength and to learn to, you know, overcome that aspect of his personality. And I think that he'll definitely fall into that first, and then maybe it'll be Sam, maybe it'll be Monica, maybe his other friends or himself will help him, you know, be more assertive and be more true to himself and learn to stand up against his dad. You know, so yeah, I kind of hoping that's what we'll see from Marshall.
That's absolutely. I definitely hope we see the character growth. I do think that it's going to be initial. That's his go-to. That's what he's used to with his dad, and I don't think he's there yet. He's still struggling with who he is as a person. He's working with Vicky. He's doing yoga, and he's trying to figure out who he is. But his father, I think, initially, like you said, his father's definitely going to throw him for a loop.
Yeah. All right. So ready to do part 2?
Okay. So I hope I can do this as well as you. So now we're the part where we see Sam and Charles in the car, and Sam is reading some emails or some messages or comments from players of her game. And one says, Lone Mind said, I've been watching Marshall Law's video for a while, and it's the first game I've ever left a comment on. I think it's my favorite game Marshall has played. It's thoughtful, funny, and clever. It's so refreshing to see a developer try something different rather than use the same game formula over and over again. I love the characters. I really want to play this game now so I can see all the different endings, and thank you for making it, developer, and rates it 10 out of 10. And Sam looks shocked but pleased. And then another one says, Cobweb Dodger said, this man was this game when I was younger. There's so much about Ruminate that I love. I wish I had the time to sit and play, but I don't have free time. About the only way I can enjoy this is being podcasting Marshall's playthrough. Thanks for the game, developer. It's helping with daily stress. Another rating of 10 out of 10. And she starts getting sniffly, and she's very touched by all of these. And then another one, I've been going through chemo and watching Marshall Law play this game. And it's helped take my mind off of things. I catch myself daydreaming about it a lot and watch this playthrough 6 times. Thanks for making the game. Sorry about what the others did to your score, and that wasn't cool. Hopefully this review helps out. And rating 10 out of 10. And she's sniffing, and Charles is concerned and a little panicked and doesn't know what to do, and asks Samara, are you okay? Are you all right? Are you crying? Do I need to pull over? She says, I'm okay, I'm happy, and how Umed had given her some printouts of some lovely comments about the game and how it made her heart feel full. So he's realizing now they're happy tears, and he's a little bit calmer, and Lily's able to relax. And she says, yes, they're very, very nice comments. And I realize people would enjoy Ruminate so much simply by watching it played, and it seems to be helping a lot of people. And I should thank Marshall again for sharing his playthrough. And then, very important part, the ultimate unlocked. All 3 of her hearts are full. She is full and happy and satisfied with her life. And that's by all 3 hearts being full. And she says, I'm so happy my dreams are finally coming true. And Charles is touched. And then they, and he's happy too. And they have arrived back at her apartment.
Oh yeah, if we can go back a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So if you notice, like what was the comment that finally like made her tears spill over was the one where somebody was sick and watching the videos, because that's exactly what she experienced with Marshall's videos and how she got into them.
Right.
You know, when she was sick in the hospital. So it must be extremely meaningful for her to have someone have a parallel experience.
Right, exactly. I completely forgot about that. That's right. That's how she found Marshall. Oh my God, how could I forget about that? But yes, that's really good. That's absolutely, definitely a parallel to her own life. And she's starting to appreciate her own contribution to somebody else's health. So she's kind of come full circle.
And it's also interesting how, you know, when she developed her game, she probably was thinking, okay, so people will play the game and that's how they're going to enjoy it. But it turns out like there's an additional layer of enjoyment where people can watch other people play through it and also derive satisfaction.
Right.
So it's like this bonus, you know, like, I guess, level, I guess if we'll use gaming terms, of like ability that her game can have.
Right. You don't have to be only the player. You could enjoy it in another way. You can watch somebody else play it and also enjoy it. And she's realizing that that it's not just the way they gave false poor reviews. These are not false positive reviews. These are actual positive reviews for a game.
Yeah.
And I think her realizing that is really important.
And kudos to Umed, you know, he pinpointed the ones, and I'm sure there might have been people who, you know, didn't even play the game or whatever. But I think Umed, first of all, he chose great comments. And also I think is helping her realize that people giving it a positive rating because of Marshall's watching is, you know, perhaps legitimate. You know, it's not, you don't have to only play the game. You can also give your opinion of the game through other people's playthroughs as well.
And yeah, absolutely. I think he was helping her realize it wasn't just Marshall's fans being Marshall's fans. They actually enjoyed the game. And validating that for her was really important. He's a great character. He's a great friend.
Yeah.
Really supportive. So here we are back at the apartment. I can't wait till the next episode. What's gonna happen with the kids? So they're back at the apartment.
Wait, I guess let's talk about the hearts. What do you think?
Okay. Oh, the hearts. Yes, sorry.
Yeah. What do you think the implication of having 3 full hearts means?
I think she's finally feels her confidence is finally, I guess to use gaming terms, maxed out. She feels fully that she's confident in herself as a developer and her skills and her abilities, and she's not doubting herself anymore. That earlier, every time her hearts were kind of filled up, had to do with her skills with the game and everything. She wants to prove herself. It's very important for her to prove herself in the world of the gaming world because of who she is, but also just for her own purposes, just so she could feel accomplished. And I think that's finally what's been achieved here, that she realizes again that it's not just Marshall's fans who are saying, yeah, we're giving a thumbs up because we love Marshall, but they actually love the game, and she's actually achieved what she's been setting out to achieve.
Do you think somebody, maybe it was Christina, had this theory on Facebook that now that we have her full hearts, we'll switch to a 2-player game? So, you know, on top it says 1-player, 2-player. So maybe we'll switch to 2-player, and then, you know, Marshall will be like the other main focus, and we'll focus more on his story.
Yeah, I'm wondering that's a possibility. I mean, even it always says 1 player, even when it's focused more on Marshall, like they're both focused on their own development right now. I'm wondering if maybe that 2-player might come in when, who knows what the ultimate relationship's going to be. We don't know. Nobody knows if it's going to be who it's going to be. But
that was my original thought. It'll turn 2-player when there's a romance.
Right. That's my thought, that it will turn that's when it'll be a 2-player game, because right now everybody's not everybody, but the 2 main characters are so focused on their own development, as they should be. But so it's still a 1-player game essentially.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. But okay, so again, we're back at the apartment. I know I'm rushing through this. So she says that he says, Samara, I know we had dinner plans tonight, but I also understand today was an emotional day for you. If you prefer a rain check and dinner, then I would certainly understand. It might be better if you took the evening to unwind. And she looks at the door and she thinks about it. She blushes and looks down and says, you're right. It has been an emotional day. Then you should get some rest. Charles says, I'll be back in the morning to pick you up. And he looks down, he's a little disappointed, and she puts a hand on his arm and tells him to stop. And she says, actually, if it's okay, I was thinking we could order delivery. And she stutters a little bit there out of nerves. and stay in this evening. And she's blushing and he's shocked. And maybe we can help each other unwind. And he just shocked. It's like knock him over with a feather. He doesn't know what to say. And that's the end of the episode. And we're all hanging off that cliff. Waiting to
Kudos to her for summoning up the courage. You know, she really is developing in terms of her temerity and her ability to express her wants.
Absolutely. And I really feel it has to do with the three full hearts, that her confidence is finally at a place where she feels that she could ask for what she wants and ask for what she needs and to express her needs and not feel, I mean, she's blushing, but she's still doing it. It's not stopping her. She's embarrassed, but because it's new to her. So it does feel awkward. It does feel uncomfortable, but she's still doing it anyway. She's asking for what she wants.
And I have to say, my first thought when I heard her say, maybe we can help each other unwind, I'm like, I don't know, with all the like sexual charge between you two, I don't know if unwinding is how I would call it. It's more like winding up.
Yeah, it might be more winding. Yeah. I don't know how much relaxing there's going to be.
But yeah, I'm excited to see, the next episode, which of course, we might be dangled off a cliff for a while and, have to see it like 3 episodes later.
Yeah, I'm really curious to know where this goes. I'm everybody. I know. I'm really curious to know where this goes with Charles. And I don't know. I like Charles. I don't know where I want to see it go. I guess this is just my personal opinion. I guess I'm more of a I like their relationship. I just always feel a little bit like, and this is probably going to be wildly unpopular. I don't know if and in a way, and I shouldn't even be saying this, in a way, I feel like even though she's at one time, at some point, she's going to be his boss, he's kind of her boss. And so in a way, it kind of equals out. They're kind of on equal footing because she's the owner's daughter. So she's not really an employee, but he's more the employee. So I'm like, that's kind of, but I mean, I definitely think that he treats her well, which is the important thing. He's very, very attuned to her feelings and how she's responding to his, how should I put this, education. But no, I guess I feel like he's okay. My point is I feel like, okay, he's okay for now, but I definitely am more the Sam and Marshall shipper. I have to say I'm on that boat.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, and please feel comfortable to say any opinion, however unpopular you think it might be. And rest assured, you're not the only Marshall shipper. And a lot of people have raised the issue of, Sam being, it's weird because she's the boss's daughter, but she's also his, I totally get it. And I mean, I have my one real life friend who actually reads Let's Play, because even though I've been, hammering on about webtoons for like a year, year and a half, only one person, one of my really close friends actually decided to read webtoons. She reads Let's Play and she does not like Charles at all. She thinks he's manipulative. She thinks he is like taking advantage of her. So, like his character has certain things that might not please everyone.
Yeah, I mean, he's a tough character. He's definitely, he's certainly got a duality. He's definitely softer with her. Absolutely. It's like she's the only one who sees the soft side of him. And I could definitely see him with someone like you because they both have that very hard shell. Mm-hmm. And they seem to respond to that in each other. But I don't dislike him, but I'm kind of jealous you have a friend in real life who reads webtoons.
Yeah, and I have to say I have another friend who she will respond positively when I send my summaries because I'll say like, oh, this is what happened this week, this is what happened this week. And most of them are just ignore it. And she's like, oh, that sounds cool. Like she'll respond positively. So
that's nice. Yeah, I have a friend who calls them like web comics or something. She'll like, oh, how is it? And then I'll try to tell her and she's like, that's nice. And she totally tunes out, but she'll listen through like a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's what we have each other for.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining. It was a fantastic themes episode, and yeah, we'll see you again.
So much. I'll see you again soon. Take care.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Thank you to my current patrons: Susie Lady Leprous, Lily Jenny, Haley Maria, Molly Veronica, Emily, Joe Rochelle, Saucy Puggles Meg, Anne Rose Priya, Alexa Misty, Laura Joanne, Patty Jen, Emilda Esther, I'm Watching You, Taurus Papacy, Marie Jen, Emily Jean Jen, Erin D, Kay, Lily, and Beckett. Your support is truly appreciated.